He was just another name on the attendance sheet. Late, tired, uninterested. Every morning, 18-year-old Arjun sat in the last row of his classroom, earbuds in, hoodie up, eyes locked on the window instead of the blackboard. Teachers labeled him lazy, wasted potential, a boy with no ambition. Students barely noticed him. He moved through life like a shadow, quiet, faded, forgotten. But no one knew what he carried inside. No one saw the storm behind those silent eyes. 2 years earlier, Arjun was everything a student could be. Top of the class, fastest sprinter on the school team, a writer, a dreamer. He was the kind of kid who smiled at strangers and helped his teachers carry books. He had dreams, big ones. He wanted to study literature, write books, and one day stand on a stage, reciting his own poetry. His notebooks were filled with metaphors and verses only his mother ever got to read. She was his audience, his cheerleader, his world. His mother was a widowed schoolteacher, gentle, sharp, full of light. She worked long hours, but always found time for him. She cheered louder than anyone at his races, taped his poems to the fridge, and whispered every night, "You're going to do something great." She didn't just believe in him. She saw him before he even knew who he was. But everything changed on a rainy Thursday evening. His mother had stayed late at school, grading papers. She called to say she was on her way home. Arjun had made her favorite tea, waiting by the window, but she never came. It was a drunk driver, a red light ignored, a moment of carelessness that rewrote the entire story. The phone rang and the world slowed down. He remembered the sterile lights of the hospital, the cold chair, the smell of antiseptic. He remembered holding her hand and staring at a woman who had once held the world together for him. He didn't cry. He couldn't. The pain was too big, too sharp. Something inside him shattered, quietly, permanently. After the funeral, Arjun moved in with his uncle, a man who had once been kind, but life had worn him down. Bills piled up. The house was cold, both literally and emotionally. There were no more bedtime stories, no notes on the fridge, no one asking how his day was. Just silence and emptiness and the sharp, growing sense that he didn't belong anywhere anymore. He stopped trying, stopped writing, stopped running. Teachers stopped asking. Friends stopped checking in. The boy who once burned so brightly had faded into gray. The only thing he kept was a folded piece of paper he found in his mother's bag weeks later. It was a letter, just a small envelope, no address, no date, just her handwriting. "To my Arjun, if I'm not there one day," but he couldn't open it. Not yet, maybe not ever. That letter terrified him. What if it made the pain worse? What if it was too much to bear? So he buried it in a drawer and buried himself in silence. Nights became the hardest. Sleep wouldn't come. His mind was full of moments he couldn't relive, and dreams he didn't believe in anymore. Sometimes he'd just walk, no destination, just movement, through empty streets, down alleys lit only by flickering streetlights, watching life happen around him, laughter behind closed doors, light spilling from windows, lovers sharing umbrellas, children running into their parents' arms. Arjun was surrounded by life, but felt completely outside of it. One evening, during one of those quiet wanderings, he found himself outside the school his mother used to teach at. The building looked the same, but emptier without her presence. The door to the library was slightly open, maybe left ajar by a janitor. He stepped in. It smelled just like it used to, old books, polished wood, dust, and memory. He walked between the shelves, dragging his fingers along the spines. Something made him stop at the poetry section. He pulled out an old anthology. As he opened it, a paper fluttered to the floor. It was one of his own poems, one he'd written for a school contest years ago. In the corner, he saw a familiar handwriting, his mother's. She'd written beneath it, "Your words matter, Arjun, even when you think they don't." Something broke in him, not violently, but gently, like a dam releasing water after too long. He sat on the floor and wept, silently at first, then openly, like a child who had waited too long to be held. He cried for the years he'd lost, for the words he had buried, for the love he never got to return. That night, he went home and sat at his desk. His hands trembled as he opened the drawer. The letter was still there, still folded, still waiting. He unfolded it slowly, heart pounding. It was short, just a few lines, but those lines felt like oxygen. Arjun, if you ever feel like giving up, promise me this. Do one thing every day that scares you. Not for me, but for you. You are not lost. You are waiting to begin again. And I believe in your second beginning. He read it again and again. Each time, the words cut deeper and healed something inside him. That night, he didn't sleep. He wrote pages and pages. Not poems, just thoughts, memories, pain, hope. He emptied himself onto paper for the first time in years. The next morning, he woke early. He dressed, ate breakfast, and for the first time in a long time, walked into school not as a shadow, but as a person trying to return to life. He sat in the front row, not because he was confident, but because it scared him. And that was a promise. One thing every day that scared him. The teacher noticed. His classmates noticed. And more importantly, he noticed something was waking up inside him. Slowly, awkwardly, but surely, over the next few months. He forced himself to show up. Even on the days he didn't want to. He answered questions, read his writing aloud, joined a poetry club. He even began helping students who were falling behind. He saw pieces of his past self in them, lost, angry, alone, and he made a choice to be the person he wished had been there for him. He still visited the library often. It became his sanctuary. He'd read old books, write new poems, and sometimes just sit in silence. He began to realize that grief doesn't disappear. It changes shape. It becomes a part of you. Not something to run from, but something to grow around. Then came the announcement graduation speeches. Anyone could submit an entry to speak. Arjun hesitated. Then he remembered, do the thing that scares you. So he wrote a speech, not about being perfect, but about being broken and brave enough to stand up anyway. He was chosen. The auditorium was full that day. Rows of students, teachers, parents. Arjun stood backstage, hands shaking, heart pounding. He clutched the edge of the podium and looked out at the sea of faces. Then he breathed and began. I lost my way, he said, voice steady but soft. There was a time I didn't think I'd make it here. A time I thought the world had ended. And in many ways it had. But someone once told me, you're not lost, you're just waiting to begin again. And they were right. He paused. The room was silent. We all fall. We all break. But falling isn't failure. Staying down is. And I'm standing here because I finally chose to get up, not all at once, not without fear. But I got up. And if you're still down, if you feel invisible, worthless, too far gone, I hope you get up too, because your story isn't over. He smiled gently. And maybe the most powerful thing we'll ever do is begin again,